Hello everyone, today we are discussing the press forging. As we know, in drop forging, the metal is shaped by means of series of blow with hammer. That means in drop forging, metal is plastically deformed with the blow of hammer. In post forging, it is done rather than with hammer blow. That means we cannot use heavy blow in press forging. Instead of heavy blow, the operation in press forging is carried out relatively slow squeezing. That means to press something firmly, especially from all sides, instead of delivering heavy blow. The squeezing action penetrates deeply because it gives metal time to flow to desired shape. That means metal is plastically deformed to required shape by slow squeezing action. The squeezing action is produced by mechanical press or hydraulic press. The figure shows hydraulic press. Let's see hydraulic press. It consists of cylinder, large piston, ram, upper die, lower die, anvil, etc. As we see, this is the cylinder. It has two openings or ports. One is at top side and other is at the bottom side of the cylinder. This cylinder contains large piston inside it, which is connected to ram. The die consists of two halves or halves. The upper half is connected to ram and lower half is fastened to anvil. Anvil block gives rigid support during forging. Now see how it works. The fluid from the tank flows into main cylinder through upper port. As fluid enters in confined cylinder, it presses or pushes or forces piston in downward direction like this one. As result of this, ram forces down in downward direction upon the metal or material to be forged, which lies on lower part of die over the anvil. The metal is compressed between two dies with high power. Due to this slow squeezing action, metal is flow between the cavities of dies, taking the shape and size of die. After each working stroke or power stroke, fluid is pumped inside the cylinder from lower port to bring back the piston to its initial position and die gets open. For smaller forging, closed impression dies used. But for bigger forging, all cavities put into single block. The operation is completed in one single smooth stroke. The press forging dies required a mechanical means for ejecting the forging or to remove the forging, and venting for air lubricant to escape the air lubricant used to cool the dies. The capacities of this press, that is intensity of force at the bottom of stroke or pressure at the lower die of press, varies from 100 to 1000 tons. The press forging may be open die or closed die. Let's see one animation of press forging.
Press forging. This setup is very much similar with drop forging. In press forging, the working stroke of ram takes place on the principle of hydraulic system. If we supply pressurized oil through port A,
This is port A, through which pressurized fluid comes into cylinder.
then it will exert pressure on piston head so that piston will move downward and working stroke will be done.
As the fluid enters into the cylinder, this fluid forces the piston in downward direction, which exerts pressure on the metal or work placed over the anvil on lower die.
Similarly, if we supply pressurized oil through port B, then the ram will get uplifted to its initial position. In this type of forging process, the working stroke is relatively slow because squeezing of metal takes place and some time is required to flow the metal properly. Compressive force exerted on work is always uniform as far as press forging is concerned. The biggest advantage of hydraulic press forging is, in a single working stroke, the metal will come nearer to its desired size.